Welcome to Why It Matters, a podcast series where the Straits Times takes a close look at one key news talking point each week. Now, SingHealth's recent data breach in Singapore's worst cyber attack has triggered questions over the country's Smart Nation initiatives. I'm your host, Ernest Lewis, and with me is Irene Tham, ST's senior tech correspondent. Irene, hi, welcome to the show.
Hi.
So, Irene, it all began with a malware infecting a single SingHealth workstation. Deputy Prime Minister Hsien revealed that the attackers gained entry into the SingHealth's system through one of the front-end computers connected to the internet used by thousands of users in the medical and academic community. What's been the reaction to this? I mean, there are three parts to this equation you fleshed out in your commentary, cyber hacking, cyber security, and cyber hygiene.
The question here is not what the authorities could have done better, but what private organizations, especially those that operate critical information infrastructure, like SingHealth's, could have done better in future. In this case, it seems like there were delays and some processes may not be in place. I mean, yesterday, Deputy Prime Minister Hsien alluded to some policy weaknesses. And it prompted one to ask, why is a computer used by many thousands of users in the medical and academic community connected to large databases? The question that everybody's asking is, why did it take SingHealth so many days to report the incident to CSA, to the Cybersecurity Agency of Singapore? The attack was detected on July 4th. The report to CSA was only given on July 10th, and that's too long a wait. And also there's another question, why shouldn't they have, SingHealth, shouldn't they have given privileged access only to some people rather than to all? So these are some questions that are waiting to be answered, and we hope that the committee of inquiry that has convened would bring some of these matters to light.
I think here's the interesting point, right? I mean, when we thought that there was this internet surfing separation that the government announced before, it was for the public sector. These days, a lot of things are considered public, right? Not so strictly just with the government sector. Things like, as you said, health, even telcos, banks, and all that. So all these things that we need to take note of, especially in the move towards a smart nation.
Right. A lot of systems are connected. The private and public sector, they are not separated by a clear, well-defined line. The lines are blurring already. And we have recently passed a cybersecurity bill in Parliament, and that takes into account both the private and the public sector, signalling the importance of coordination and cooperation between the two sectors. And so in this case, internet surfing separation, whether it should have been done and implemented in SingHealth before this, this is an afterthought, right? I don't have an answer to that. There are two schools of thought. First is, do we implement an interim measure because we're not prepared? Or do we charge ahead because we know that we have the best defense technologies in place? This question, is best left to the authorities to answer. I don't have the answer to it, but it seems like we may not be that prepared after all.
And as you said in your commentary, a lot of Smart Nation projects were thought of being rolled out, actually. Smart lampposts, among many, many other initiatives and all that. You think there's a pause button now on such projects? We're going to look at the basics?
Well, I'm very excited about these projects because it just makes life, better for everybody. When something bad happens, we want the authorities to, catch the bad guys. And only, advanced technology, state-of-the-art technology, surveillance systems and all could nab these guys quickly in no time. But then again, the flip side is whether the data is properly protected. So I guess for them to kind of pause and think, take stock, and then later reboot, it might just be the best option right now, because if we're not prepared, then the fallout will be pretty severe in future. These are great projects, but we really need to rethink our approach to security, specifically the man in the street, the end user, the people running these systems, and the people part of the equation. We can have the best technology in place, but if the people are not prepared to be on their toes at all times, then it's as good as not having the system at all.
Okay, so you're saying like in a country like Singapore, because traditionally we tend to say, just leave it to the government or the authorities to deal with or something, That has to change. If cyber hygiene, as you said, is the next thing we need to think about as a nation collectively, that has to change, right?
Yes. We need to take charge of our own personal data. We need to take responsibility over the protection of these data. The simple basic thing that we do each time somebody asks us for our NRIC details is, why do you need the data? If we are asked by building management to hand over our NRIC, we should resist and not hand over our NRIC card, because what if they lose it? Basic things that we have to ask and resist, fight back. I mean, it seems counterproductive at times because we are really messing up with an established system that has worked over many years, but we need to change that. And then the building management owners need to be educated about the importance of people's personal data. I mean, it's an education program that needs to be rolled out across different sectors, end users, people who are running the systems, people who are managing buildings, and also people who are running contests and surveys and so on. We always ask for our NRIC, and they scan the barcode of our NRIC, and you wonder what kind of data they protect. So I don't give them my NRIC. You just tell them that I don't have it. You want to use my Ministry of Information and Communications card. I have my details in there. You can copy it down, but you don't scan my NRIC. I don't know what they're taking away with that scan. So these are things that people need to be aware and resist, when they're asked for too much than what is required.
On Sunday, I think it was a couple of days ago, SingHealth also advised the public on what genuine SMS notifications should look like. They had visuals, be aware of what fake messages look like and all that. Do you think they should have done this in tandem with the initial alert of the hacking attack?
I think there's no better way to do it, because if they don't show people what the SMS would look like, people will be wondering, so what do I expect? But they did the good thing, which is to show, what it looks like. But again, I mean, it's not a foolproof measure. Crooks will abuse the system and use it to trick people. So then the onus is on end users to be aware and not to click on links sent to them via SMS or WhatsApp. It must be a habit ingrained in our culture. A habit is like cyber hygiene. You wash your hands after you come out of the toilet. It's the same thing that you have to do for when you receive WhatsApp messages that look dubious. Don't click on anything. Don't click on any links sent to you via email, SMS, or WhatsApp. While if they prompt you to change your password, for example, just go to the website, manually type in the URL, and just change it there. Don't click on the link or any link that's provided to you to do that.
I think because in the wake of this incident, I remember seeing some WhatsApp messages coming through saying, change your SingPass now. So these are the things. And what happens if someone who's, like the less savvy, possibly from the older generation and all that, they're not so savvy with these things? What's the best advice for these kind of people?
Well, I guess the best thing is don't take action and ask for help. Ask your children for help.
Or don't download WhatsApp anyway.
Yeah, just don't. I mean, you can download WhatsApp, but just don't click on any link. And if you are in doubt, ask for help.
Okay. And, we've had this war on diabetes in Singapore, has proven pretty successful so far. Do you think this case, the SingHealth case, do you think it's time for a war on cyber security, cyber hygiene?
Well, if I may be irreverent, I think we should have a war on gunduness. I mean, there's a lot of silly behavior. People are not aware. They're not situationally aware. And when something happens, we kind of think that it's okay, the authorities are in charge. We have to take action. We have to report something that we feel is not right. And, we leave it to whoever we report to take action, But we, on our part, we are the eyes and ears on the ground. So we should take action and report something.
Yes, I agree with you. I mean, sometimes it's difficult for us to admit that we are a bit kundu at times, And it's good to constantly read up and look at notifications, read up on these things, what to look out for, and keep emphasizing that kind of behavior, even when we get spam messages among our friends as well.
Yeah, I think it's a conversation that needs to be ongoing. It should be something that we discuss every day, It's something that you don't know, ask. I think there's no shame in asking if you don't know.
Right, a war to promote cyber hygiene then?
Yes, I think that's the proper term. Singapore wants to be a smart nation with plans to roll out a lot of exciting projects, and that is a good thing. But I think taking a step back and rethinking our process and taking stock and all that is important too. After all, I think we need smart people first before we can have a smart nation. And smart people includes your man in the streets, people who will not click on phishing emails and think twice about it, and also people who are running systems, who know when to press the button when there's a need to, who are situationally aware, who knows that when an attack hits, it's not something that they should take lightly. So, I think we need smart people to run a smart nation.
All right, thanks, Irene. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
You can find more of Irene Tham's work at the Straits Times online, where we have a hyperlink to her author profile. Look out for more podcasts on various topics on the Straits Times, and do send us your thoughts to podcasts@sph.com.sg.